Originally, this video was supposed to be covering the leaks, but the game actually came out the day that I planned to do this, because it was leaked a day early and everyone got it. So I'm going to cover my final thoughts. This is NSBD! So, before I talk about the roster, I'm just going to talk about my final opinion on the stages. See, the miiverse did a good job in informing us of all the stages. I believe there were only 2 real surprises, and that being Earthbound's Magicent and the new F-Zero stage. So the thing about Magicent is, I know people are really excited that Earthbound has a stage, and it looks really pretty in my opinion, but the problem with it, though, is it just kind of looks like a reskinned Battlefield. I mean, sure, you got that guy popping up and doing damage, or I don't even know what he's doing. And it looks really pretty, but it, like, the way the platforms are positioned, it just looks like Battlefield. And granted, that's a problem with a lot of stages in other Smash Bros. Games, where, they're just reskins of other stages, but at least they have some sort of unique type of hazard or design to make them feel unique. But Magicent just feels like a Final Destination version of it, but a Battlefield version of it. I'm not quite sure. I guess they're running out of time and they just wanted to give Ness a stage or something. And though the background is really, really pretty, especially showing like different parts of Earthbound and whatnot, that's really cool. I don't know. I'm not really into Earthbound that much, but that's just my take. It just kind of seems like Battlefield-ish. The F-Zero stage is also a stage that's kind of samey, as it just seems like a typical F-Zero stage from previous Smash Bros. Games. Especially it being, feeling most like Mute City. But the thing is, I like Mute City. I don't really like Battlefield. It's kind of bland and boring. And if I'm going to play on a bland or boring stage to not have hazards, I'd rather play on Final Destination than Battlefield. Battlefield's just one of those forgettable stages, while Mute City was awesome. And not just that, but again, the visuals of the stage are stunning. I really, really like the retro look to this F-Zero stage. It's cool, and it's good to like cater to the 3DS processing power instead, because it has that retro stylized look, but it still looks really, it's styled, yet it's oldish, but it fits the 3DS well, and I expect the Wii U version to have a more HD, like, I mean not an HD, like a more realistic look to the F-Zero stage, kind of more like the Port Town Aero Drive from Brawl, and it looks so pretty HD, so I expect the 3DS one to be more retro-y, like a racetrack, and the Wii U one to still be kind of similar to most F-Zero stage where it goes around the course, but this time being like more realistic looking, and I like that, and I'm really impressed by the F-Zero stage. So that's all the new stages, but I'd like to talk about some more information about stages we weren't sure about. The Game Boy stage turned out to be a Kirby stage. When we first saw the pictures in the leak, I was surprised that Kirby didn't get a new stage, because it's probably arguably the 4th most important Nintendo series and didn't get its own stage. But then the Game Boy stage is the stage for Kirby, which is nice, and it goes back to the whole F-Zero stage, where it's really stylized and it's outdated, but it's stylized, so it looks nice. And you go through different landscapes and whatnot, and battle and different things. I like that, with not just a swoosh, but like the Fire Emblem stage, it's Castle Siege, but it's transforming, which is nice, and you go through different areas, and the music changes. Lastly, the last stage, I'm really disappointed about the Paper Mario stage, because I thought we would get like different like throwbacks to previous Paper Mario games, but it's just 2 Sticker Star stages. I mean, seriously, I really don't like Sticker Star, and I'm really disappointed that it's only 3 stages, and not just that, but 2 of them being from the worst Paper Mario game. It just really pisses me off, though admittedly, even though the representation is awful and garbage, I really like I think the fun of the stages go, like, it transforms from worst to best. Like, the windmill one's boring. The ship one seems fun. And, like, you see, like, the tuna from Paper Mario 64 there, which is nice. But the Bowser's Castle head, the one with Bowser's Castle, looks really cool in my opinion. So yeah, there's different platforms and there's Bowser's head that's rotating. I don't think we've seen something like that with so many different platforms to jump around. And not, like, one solid, like, platform, though the head of Bowser's Castle is that, but it's rotating. But I really wish we got another, we got like a Super Paper Mario or Paper Mario 64 stage instead of just a sticker star stage. That just bugs me. And lastly, that's it for all like the stages. Like Yoshi, Wario, Star Fox, Metroid, all that, they all get reused stages as the representation. I kind of understand that due to time constraints. They didn't have time to make stages for everyone. So, but they still want to give their series like a representation. So they made like they brought back a stage to represent them instead. That's perfectly understandable. And a lot of people are complaining about that, but I understand due to time constraints. I'm just worried that I know Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS will have more stages than Brawl, but I'm scared Smash Bros. Wii U itself will have less stages than Brawl, or the same amount. Well, actually, the same amount would be bad, but I'm worried it's gonna have less, because 3DS only has like, what, 25 stages, Brawl had like 39, I think. So, but that's understandable, because the 3DS version's inferior, but if I'm gonna have like a proper Smash, I want it to have more stages, not less. So I hope the Wii U version by itself has more stages, than Brawl itself, and not just 3DS and Wii U combined have more stages than Brawl. That's what I'm really hoping on. Okay, so now I'm gonna get to the characters. And oh boy, do I have a lot to say about the characters. You see, before, it's like the stages, where before the game was announced, we knew most of the characters and I already went into great detail about them. There's only there's 3 new characters and there's 1 returning character. No one expected to come back. But first, I'm going to talk about the unlockable selection, just very briefly. I really like how every Smash Bros. Games, the unlockable always vary. Like, usually, like, characters like Marth and Luigi and stuff would be unlockable. But in this game, they're from the start. Well, characters that have never been unlockable before, like Wario and... I think it's just Wario, but still, I like that. Even though it is pretty standard for like Ganondorf and ROB and Game & Watch to be unlockable, but that makes sense. I just do like how they're switching things up a bit. Even though there is a bit less unlockables this time around, but I do like how Wario is unlockable. That's new and random. So now I'm going to talk about the characters. Before I go to the newcomers, I'm going to talk about the characters that are missing from this game. Ice Climbers, I understand. I'm really sad to see them go, because they're the only unique fighter that's been cut, besides Mewtwo. But that's, a lot of people think Mewtwo and Lucario are clones, even though they have 1 special move. But I kind of get that. But Ice Climbers are just really, really unique. And I'm really sad to see them go, because they were unique and I enjoyed playing with them. But I understand, like, I'm not too upset because of the 3DS limitations. Wolf, I'm also sad to go on because I do like more like villains in the game, but we really didn't need 3 Star Fox representations that always play the same. I mean, do you know how irritating that was to have 3 clones that are the same? But in my opinion, Falco should have been cut, because at least Wolf is not only like a villain, I like when the hero and the villain are in the game, but also he was more unique to Fox than Falco was. I mean, his up B wasn't a blaster, it was just different properties, but it looked different. And his side B was different, and his blaster worked different. But I kind of get why Falco needed to stay, because I think Falco's more of a staple in the Smash series since he's been around since Melee. And I understand, and plus I think he's more important and prominent in the game than Wolf is. I mean, Wolf isn't even the main villain, he's just the recurring rival. And I think Falco's like Fox's like Luigi, like, and Fox being Mario, of course. So I get why they chose Wolf to be gone over Falco, even though Falco did play differently. Because the representations shouldn't just be decided by like who's more unique, but also by who's more important. And I think Falco's more important than Wolf, and Falco's been more of a staple. And it'd be weird to have Wolf in, but not Falco. The next one cut is Snake, which I'm not surprised at all, because he kind of felt like more of like a one trick, like showed up for just one game, being all distinct and whatnot, but he didn't really feel like that kind of like Smash character. He just felt like just there for like a guest, not like an actual character. and he didn't really belong, but I think that was the point. But I don't think it would have worked for 2 games. Plus, you don't see Metal Gear Solid 5 having having a Wii U version. So I get Nintendo's point of view. I understand he's irrelevant to Nintendo now, and he was just there as a guest and not as an actual like full-on newcomer. And Lucas, I'm the most upset about, which I will get into later. And now to the characters, starting from worst to best. So I think when they were making Smash Bros, they're like, oh shoot, we wanted to have 15 new characters, but I mean, we wanted to have this certain amount of characters, but we only made less. Oh, I know, let's just clone a bunch of them. And I get it with Lucina. They wanted Fire Emblem Awakening sold like the best, so they wanted 2 reps from the game, and they wanted like more females. But did they really need to put Dark Pitu Pit in the game? I mean, seriously. I'm okay with clones. I am not okay with clones that are promoted from an alternate costume. I mean, there's no discernible difference between Pit and Dark Pit. It's just with black wings, and I don't think their hair is even different. It's literally just being able to use an alternate costume by pressing a character slot instead of pressing X a bunch of times. Do you know how much I don't fathom that idea? And the name isn't even different. If it was like Pit 2, maybe it'd be okay, but it's just Dark Pit because that's his normal name. And it's just Pit with Dark in the front. It's just a second Pit. I mean, I get that Sakurai is biased towards Kid Icarus Uprising. And I get that he wanted a 3rd rep. But did we really just need... And I get that he needed more clones. But did we really need a clone that is not only from a game that already has 2 representations, but also just a palette swap? I mean, it's not even an alternate skin like Lucina. It doesn't name. It's literally a palette swap. It's just different colors. Do you know how lazy it was? And the stupid idea that I can't fathom is the only reason he was... Don't get me wrong. I loved him in Kid Icarus Uprising. I enjoyed him more than Pit. And I always enjoyed when he'd show up. But he was promoted from an alternate costume. Dark Pit was literally not even an alternate skin. Like, he had less creativity put into Dark Pit than Wario's overalls did. I mean, that's more of a difference. That's like having 2 Warios in the game. His WarioWare outfit and his overalls. That's more unique, right? Because it's overalls. It's not just a different color. And another thing that annoys me about Dark Pit, his final smash. I mean, they could have given him Pit's final smash, and I'd understand. That'd be a clone final smash. But they literally cloned... They didn't just give him Pit's final smash, but they gave him Zelda and Sheik's final smash. Not only does he have a clone final smash, but he has a clone final smash that's already in the game twice. I mean, it could have been bad with Pit's Sacred Treasures, but no, we have to have another goddamn Light Arrow / Silver Arrow or Dark Pit Staff or whatever Dark Pit's using. But it's the same thing that's already been in the game twice. So yeah, like, Dark Pit is in the game, but Lucas isn't. Because Lucas is less of a clone to Ness than Dark Pit is to Pit, because Dark Pit is all of Pit's moves. They just play differently. Lucas had PK Freeze instead of PK Flash. And I get that you can customize Ness to be like Lucas, but why can't you customize Pit to be like Dark Pit? Why is Dark Pit in the game, but not Lucas? I mean, maybe it's because Kid Icarus Uprising is more modern and more popular, but it shouldn't just be about that, and it shouldn't be about bias either. Not only is Lucas more unique, but also Earthbound only has 1 representation, while Kid Icarus Uprising, or Kid Icarus in general, has 2. They don't need 3 versus 1. It should be balanced. 2 versus 2. And Lucas looks different. He's not just a palette swap, and he has different specials. That irritates me to no end. Why is Lucas gone but Dark Pit in the game? And not just Dark Pit, but Lucas is gone, but Dr. Mario is in. Yes, that's right. The Dr. Mario, the character that sat out in Brawl, is back to complete the clone corner, who's just Mario. He's not even a different character like Dark Pit, but he's just Mario with a cape. He's not even a separate character like Dark Pit. At least Dark Pit was cool. Dr. Mario is just Pit. I mean, just Mario with a cape, with a doctor's cape. And I guess he is a bit better than Dark Pit because his down B is different back to the Doctor Tornado instead of the Flood, which I saw coming. But Luigi has that as well. So like it just seems really, really weird, in my opinion, how Dr. Mario, who's just Mario in the game, but Lucas, who was an actual like main character of another Earthbound game, isn't. And he's more unique. Well, I guess they're the same unique because Dr. Mario has a different down B and Lucas has a different B. But you can use the Dr. Tornado with Luigi, with the Luigi Tornado. Do you know what that irritates me? Okay, so the thing I see about Duck Hunt Dog is most people love that he's included, while some people are kind of against him. In my opinion, I feel every Smash Bros. Game is obligated to introduce one obscure, like, retro character, at least one. Usually one being in the starting roster and one being unlockable. This time there has been none in the starting roster, but Duck Hunt Dog is like that unlockable obscure retro character that I think is a tradition at this point, with Melee being Game & Watch and Brawl having ROB. These are characters that are usually like, not even playable, they're just there, and you never expect them to be a fighter in Smash Bros. But somehow Sakurai manages to use his creativity to make them work for the game. And that's why I love Duck Hunt Dog so much, because even though I don't really care too much the fact that Duck Hunt itself gets a representation, Duck Hunt Dog, they somehow managed to make him really, really creative. And I always love like these retro characters that you don't expect to be playable, and they end up being playable and you never see why. And they get adapted from being pretty much nothing. Like, look at the Wii Fit Trainer, though she isn't retro. She's like an example of how they turn like something that you usually see in pictures to an actual fighter. And those are usually just my favorite characters. And that's why I enjoy the Duck Hunt Dog so much. Though he does have, my only problem is that he kind of has the same Final Smash as Captain Falcon, where something hits you from front, then there's a cutscene. But it's a really, really hilarious cutscene in my opinion. And come on, guys, he's a dog. Who doesn't want to play as a dog? Like, dogs are my favorite creatures. I'm so glad we can finally play as a dog. The wolf was kind of doggish. He wasn't really, since he was bipedal. But I mean, like, a legit quadrupedic dog. And, like, unlike these other, wait, I just realized we do have a retro game that gets representation in the starting roster, being Little Mac. But Little Mac's a bit different since he had a game on the Wii recently. So that's kind of like representing his more newer side than like an old Nintendo character that's faded into obscurity. And unlike Ice Climbers and Game & Watch, Duck Hunt is actually a pretty popular old franchise. So it's really cool how like that game being pretty popular, even though it's old, a lot of people have heard of it. Like, I heard of Duck Hunt before Smash Bros. I'm glad Duck Hunt gets a representation. It's really creative how they implemented it into this game. Moving on to our final newcomer, and probably my favorite newcomer in this entire game. Like, I like it more than Pac-Man, Wii Fit Trainer, Shulk. This being Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. is a character that I've really wanted since Brawl, like since 2008, and he could have been creative in that game. And I'm glad they waited for him to get his Koopa Clown card, because that's what I'm really excited about this character. Not only does he's a character I've always wanted, but also he looks so much fun, and it's just a perfect combination. I mean, with this game, the characters that I usually want are kind of generic, or there's characters that I didn't know I wanted, but they look so much fun, like Little Mac or Palutena, or even Pac-Man looks fun. But Bowser Jr., the thing is, ever since New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I always loved controlling that Koopa Clown card. I mean, in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I'd get so excited when we'd hijack it, then we'd have a battle against them. That was always a lot of fun. And I'm so glad we can use this card in battle. And I really can't wait to see like how to play with him. And Bowser Jr. has just been such a important role in the Mario series that I've been so confused why Rosalina got in the game, but Bowser Jr. didn't. Turns out that Bowser Jr. was in the game. He just kept hidden, and I'm really glad that they waited till now, because because in Brawl the Koopa Clown cart wasn't invented, but then after Brawl it was invented in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, well, Bowser Jr.'s, and he's just a lot more creative than he could have been in Brawl by them waiting for this game to put him in, and that's why I'm excited. And not only that, but his ults are the Koopalings. I mean, come on, how cool are they? The Koopalings are probably the most common recurring Mario baddies in the series, that if there's going to be another Mario character, it should have been the Koopalings. They've been in like everything recently. They've been very popular ever since New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and they've been around since Super Mario Bros. 3. And they were in Mario Kart 8, so it makes perfectly sense for them to be in this game. And they're not a waste of a slot. They're just Bowser Jr. alts. But they're still in the game. They're still there. And Roy's back. Come on, who doesn't want to play as Roy again? And I'm really glad that, though it doesn't make sense that the Koopalings also have this final smash, I'm really glad that Bowser Jr. has some sort of a Shadow Mario part in his moveset, because that was really important. And everyone thought, like even I thought, when he should have been in Brawl, he'd have like he'd transform into Shadow Mario. So I'm glad that's part of his final smash, because that's a big part of his character, and that's how he was introduced. So that makes perfect sense for him to be his final smash. Though they could have made Bowser Jr. just be like a smaller, but faster clone of Bowser. I'm really glad they put him in that car to make him more unique, because again, he's the perfect character, because not only have I wanted him really badly, but he looks a lot of fun, and that's why he's my favorite newcomer in this game. So thank you all for tuning in to this episode of NSBD detailing what I thought about the final look of the game. The game looks really fun, and though there's a few hiccups, overall I'm really satisfied with what they could have done in this game. I was really scared that they were gonna scrape the bottom of the barrel with the characters, and at points they did. too. Mostly they all look like characters that have deserved to be in this game for a while now. Though I'm not sure what they're going to do for newcomers in the next Smash series. I'm sure they know what they're doing, and it's going to be fun. There's going to be one more NSBD about me talking about my thoughts of the demo of this game, because I've talked about like how the game looks. I feel I should talk about how the game plays, and I don't think I need to wait for the actual game to come out to talk about how I'm glad it plays, because the demo contains everything else I'm looking for. So that's going to come out soon. The game comes out in a week, and I can't wait. See you guys for that video.